Hi everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs. My project today is a window box that has M&Ms in it. The box measures, let's see this side, 3.5 by 2 3/4 by 1 inch. Okay, it opens like this. I have M&Ms, but you can put whatever you want. I didn't have the Halloween ones yet, but that would look really cool coming through the window. But you could put other treats in here, candy bars and such. I used Best Witches stamp set along with the rectangle stitch dies for the window and the stylish shapes dies for the sentiment. I use Celebrate Everything Host Designer Series paper. It's 48 sheets, and you can get that with your Stampin' Rewards if you spend $150 or more. Okay, let me show you what we need. We need a piece of Highland Heather that is 8.5 by 6.5. A piece of window sheet that is 2 1/4 by 1 3/4. A piece of the DSP that is 3 1/4 by 2 1/2. 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 3 1/4. And 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 2 1/2. And then I cut this tag using the stylish shapes dies out of Daffodil Delight. Alrighty. Now this is my host code. If you're going to spend anything under $150, please put that in, and I can get Stampin' Rewards and send a little something to everybody. Okay, so let me get my Simply Scored. We're going to start on the 8.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 1, 3 3/4, 4 3/4, and 7.5. Switch it to the 6.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2, 1 1/2, 5, and 6. Okay, now all those measurements are on my blog, which is linked below. Now I'm just going to fold and burnish. Alrighty, so how I have it sitting here is the long ways. It can be either side because they're the same. Alright, so there's a skinny rectangle at the top and one at the bottom, and a 1 inch strip on each side. And this is what we're going to do. Okay. All right. Let's start on the lower left, and we're going to go to the first score line and cut it to the second score line. Get rid of that rectangle on the bottom and wedge both sides of the square. Okay. Go to the next score line. Cut it up to the second score line, next score line, cut it up to the second score line, get rid of this rectangle on the bottom, and wedge each side of the square. Okay, so now we don't need these 4 pieces here. So what we're going to do is follow the second score line over, and it will be 2 up from the bottom here, and we're going to get rid of all 4 of these pieces. Okay, and 4 off. Okay, now we're going to turn it to the other side, and we're going to count 1 2 3 4 again and get rid of these 4. So to the second score line, cut it to the second score line, and take everything off on this side. Okay, go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, take the rectangle off the bottom, and wedge each side of the square. Okay. Go to the next score line, cut it up to the second score line, cut the rectangle off the bottom, and wedge each side of the square. Okay, and then what we need is a corner rounder, and these extra pieces of skinny rectangle that stick out farther than anything else, you want to round both sides on each side. And this is what your cardstock should look like after you're done cutting it, scoring it, and then rounding the corners of the two skinny pieces. Okay, now we have to cut our window. So what we want to do is put it so that this is our top flap. We want this piece facing us. And I'm using this rectangle from the rectangle stitched dies, and it is the one that is kind of the stubbiest. Okay, and what we're going to do first is we need our piece of DSP that is 3 1/4 by 2 1/2, and we're going to put it on here with, I'm going to use Stampin' Seal, because when I try to cut the window out, if I do it with liquid glue and I don't wait long enough, it's going to squeeze out and ruin everything. So if you have time, liquid glue is fine, but I'm going to put a bunch of Stampin' Seal so that it's all stuck on wherever this cuts. There'll be more around it to make sure it stays down. Okay, so now we have that. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this about 1/4 inch from the edge of each side of the DSP on the upper right hand side. Okay, and then I'm going to take some low-tack tape and I'm going to put it right on there. Okay, and you're going to have to fold these longer tabs in to fit on your plate. Okay, and then you just put this through and I'll be right back. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just gently peel the die off. Okay, so now you have this piece you can use for another project if you want to. And this is what your cardstock should look like after you do the window. Okay, so now we need our window sheet. We're going to turn it over to the inside of the box, and we're going to be putting it right over the opening. So we need some glue dots, and I'll take your pick tool, or I think I'm going to put about 6, all 4 corners, and then 2 on the long sides. Okay, and then I'm just going to put it right over our window so that none of the glue dots are over the window. Okay, now we need some tear and tape. And I'm going to put it on all 4 tabs, one next to the score line and one next to the edge. Okay, and I'm going to get my take your pick tool. I'm going to start with this strip here, and I'm going to take the backings off with my take your pick tool. Okay, and I'm going to take the score line on the tab and make it flush with the rectangle that's on the inside. Okay, and then we'll do the next side. And all of this is going towards the piece that doesn't have the window. Okay, we want this rectangle to have all of these tabs attached. Okay, and that's your box right there. Now what we're going to do is take some 5/8 inch adhesive Velcro dots, They're the low profile ones in this from the sewing section, and go to the inside of the flap that's loose here. Put one in the middle there, and then the matching one on top of it with the adhesive facing up. Then you're going to close your box. Just make sure the sides are nice and even, and then press it down. Gently pull it up and reinforce. Okay, so that's our closure. Okay, so now we need the rest of our DSP. We're going to put the ones that are 3/4 by 3 1/4 on these long sides, and the short ones that are 3/4 by 2 1/2 on the short sides. Okay, and I'm going to use liquid glue. Now we need our piece of basic white, and I'm going to be using this image from Best Witches and some Tuxedo Black ink. Okay, great. And I fussy cut this out by hand, which I already have done for us. Okay, and I'm going to use some Stampin Blends. Okay, let's start with the cheeks. I'm going to put light Flirty Flamingo on the cheeks. I just put it under the eyes. And then we're going to use dark Petal Pink to color the face, and I'm going to just blend out those cheeks. Kind of softens them a little bit. Okay, and the hands. Okay, so we're done with those. Okay, so next I'm going to use light and dark Highland Heather, and I'm going to just put a little bit of dark on the tip of the hat and a little bit on the sides and where it meets the hat band, and then a little bit in the corners here. Okay, and then I'm just going to fill in the rest with light Highland Heather. Okay, then I'm just going to take some dark, and I'm going to go along the waistband and down these lines here. And then I'm just going to fill the rest of the dress in with the light Highland Heather. Okay, and then with dark Highland Heather, I'm going to do the tights. Okay. And then for the hair, I'm going to use dark So Saffron. I'm just going to put a little bit on these pieces up here, and then fill in the bottom ones. Right now, the hat band, under the hat, and the cape, I'm all going to do with light basic black. Okay, I'm going to take dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to do the buckle. And the broom head. And then with dark soft suede, I'm going to do the broom handle. Okay, and you know what? And with the light soft suede, I'm just going to add a little bit of lines in the broom. Okay, and that's it for coloring. Okay, now we need our piece of Daffodil Delight that I cut using the Stylish Shapes dies. And we need the Sentiment Best Witches and some Tuxedo Black Ink. And I'm just going to stamp it towards the right-hand side of the label. Good. Okay, now what we want to do is have the label just hang off a tiny bit off the edge here. Okay, I'm just going to use liquid glue for that. I'm just going to center it between the bottom of the window and the bottom of the DSP. Oops. Okay, and then I'm going to get some mini dimensionals and some dimensionals. And my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to put the mini dimensionals as close to the pieces that are really tiny as I can get them. Maybe one on the broom, and then I'll put 2 larger dimensionals in. And I'm going to put my witch on, covering up the label, and it's going to hang off the left a little bit and a tiny bit off the top. Okay. All right, let's put our M&Ms inside. I just took a bag of M&Ms and I used a lip and tape bag, they're called. You can get them on Amazon, and put them in. You can put kisses in here. You don't need to put them in a bag if you want. Okay, and then I'm going to add some Wink of Stella to the black areas of the witch. So the hat band, under the hat, and the cape. And for the final touch, I'm going to take some of the glittered organdy ribbon, and I'm just going to tie a small bow. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to put 2 glue dots, and then on the sides, and a dab of glue in the middle. Sides of the knot. And then a dab of glue on the knot. And we're going to put it right up here. Okay, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, my email is below. Remember, this is my host code for the rest of September. If you're going to spend anything under $150, please put that in. The link to my shop is below, and the link to my blog that has the measurements. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and I will see you next week. Bye.